Telling time. Humans have used different objects to tell time. In the beginning, they used an hourglass. This is a cylindrical glass with a narrow center which allows sand to flow from its upper to its lower portion. Once all the sand has trickled to the lower portion, one knows that an hour has passed. Using the same idea, water clocks were constructed to measure time by having water flow through a narrow passage from one container to another. On the other hand, sundials allowed people to estimate an hour by looking at the position of the shadow cast by the sun on a plate. At night, people measured the time by checking the alignment of the stars in the sky. None of these were accurate though. The clock was the first accurate instrument from telling time. 1. Which of the following ways of telling time made use of sand? A. Water clocks, B. Hourglass, C. Sundials, D. Clock. B. Hourglass. Number 2. None of the clocks used long ago were accurate. Accurate in the sentence means A. Free from error, B. Comparable, C. Very useful, D. Efficient. A. Free from error. Number 3. When men of long ago told time at night, they looked at the blank to tell the time. A. Cloud formation, B. Moon, C. Stars, D. Sun. C. Stars. Number 4. The sundials may not be useful in telling time. Blank. A. At noontime, B. In the morning, C. During a rainy day, D. When the sun shines brightly. C. During a rainy day. How are the hourglass and the water clock similar? A. Both tell time by the hour, B. Both use water to tell time, C. Both are used only in the daytime, D. Both have a narrow center through which something flows. D. Both have a narrow center through which something flows. Number 6. The best title of the selection is blank. A. The uses of clock, B. Why people need to tell time, C. Ways of telling time then and now, D. Comparing the different types of clocks, D. Comparing the different types of clocks. Number 7. Which of these sentences is a topic sentence? A. The invention of the clock 600 years ago was the first accurate measurement of time. B. Hourglass contained sand that fell through one container to another. C. Long ago, people used simple tools such as the hourglass. D. Humans have used different objects to tell the time. D. Humans have used different objects to tell the time. D. Counting the hours. When men decided to divide the day into 24 hours, they used numbers 1 to 12 two times. As a result, there was 1 o'clock during the day and another 1 o'clock after midnight. This created confusion. If one was told to submit a project at 6 o'clock, did this mean 6 o'clock in the morning or at night? The Romans provided a solution to this problem. They thought at that noontime, the time when the sun is at its apex, is an important time. They called noon meridius, and measured time by called post-meridian. Ante-meridian was shortened to AM, while post-meridian was shortened to PM. Number 8. When day was divided into 24 hours, what numbers were used to express time? A. 1 to 6, B. 1 to 12, C. 1 to 36, D. 1 to 24, B. 1 to 12. Number 9. Having one number express time twice caused confusion. In this selection, confusion may mean blank. A. Differences, B. Discussions, C. Problems, D. Mistakes. C. Problems. Number 10. The Romans thought of a solution. This means they provided blank. A. An answer to the problem. B. A better interpretation. C. A new set of numbers. D. Another clock. A. An answer to the problem. Number 11. Meridius means blank. A. Apex. B. Noon. C. Before. D. Daylight. B. Noon. Number 12. The early Romans used the position of the sun to tell time. When the sun was at what was at its apex, it was noon. What does apex mean? A. Highest point. B. Lowest point. C. Farthest point. D. Nearest point. A. Highest point. 13. Another good title for this selection is blank. A. Why there are 24 hours in a day. B. Why noontime is important to Romans. C. How the Romans told time. D. The meaning of AM and PM. D. The meaning of AM and PM. B. Nosebleeds. Having a nosebleed is a common occurrence. Children experience epistaxis when blood flows out from either or both nostrils, often for a short period of time. It may be caused by one's behavior like frequent nose picking or blowing too hard when one has a cold. It may also be caused by a certain physical factors such as an allergy or abnormal growths in the nasal cavity. Or it may be due to environmental conditions such as exposure to toxic fumes or dryness of the air. While it is often thought that holding one's head back can treat a nosebleed, this can actually cause one to choke or vomit. The best thing to do is to lean forward, pinch the top of the nose, and apply a cold compress. And if that doesn't work, it's best to get professional help. Number 14. When children experience epistaxis, we can observe that there is blank. A. A steady flow of nasal discharge. B. Blood flow from the nasal passage. C. Build up of mucus in our nasal cavity. D. Blood stoppage in the nostrils. D. Blood flow from the nasal passage. Number 15. When an experience is described as a common occurrence, it is blank. A. An incident that is disappointing. B. An episode that is quite alarming. C. An event that is no longer surprising. D. An occasion that is overwhelming. C. An event that is no longer surprising. Number 16. Which of these options help treat a nosebleed? A. Applying a cold compress on the nose. B. Pinching the nostrils shut. C. Holding the head back to keep from the blood from flowing. D. Applying a warm compress on the nose. A. Applying a cold compress on the nose. Number 17. Which of these causes of a nosebleed are within our control? A. Allergies. B. Picking from one's nose. C. Dryness in the air. D. Abnormal growth in the nasal cavity. B. Picking one's nose. Which of these factors that cause nosebleeds are directly within our control? A. Physical factors. B. Environmental factors. C. Behavior factors. D. Social factors. A. Physical factors. Number 19. This selection is mainly providing A. A description of a nosebleed. B. The causes and effects of a nosebleed. C. An explanation of what to do when one has a nosebleed. And D. A listing of the myths regarding treatment of a nosebleed. B. The causes and effects of a nosebleed. Number 20. Another good title for this selection is blank. A. Nosebleeds. A. Nosebleeds. A cause for concern. B. Nosebleeds. An unavoidable experience. C. Nosebleeds. A common childhood experience. D. Nosebleeds. Common myths and misconceptions. C. Nosebleeds. Nosebleeds. A common childhood experience.